What is your price? Because if your price is not your life, then you are for sale. Welcome back to The Price is My Life. This is James O'Keefe, joined in studio by special guest Tommy Robinson, just landed in Miami. Tommy, this is not your first time in the United States.
It's not, but I haven't been since 2010. I didn't think I'd get back in. I had an invite in 2017 by 10 members of Congress, and 45 British MPs wrote to the embassy in London to block me.
Did you give me any problems at the airport last night coming in?
No.
No? Everything's good to go?
Yeah, I've been in Washington for 5 days.
5 days in D.C.?
Landed in D.C., been there 5 days, been working non-stop, interviewing congressmen about different things. So, yeah.
Were you here for the State of the Union?
No, I didn't get in the State of the Union. I wish I did. But, I've come here in my capacity as a journalist.
Journalist, so you're covering
I'm covering news,
issues.
covering stories, interviewing people, and also bringing a warning to America.
And we'll get to that. You've been here for 6 days, 5 days?
Yep.
So far, what's been the highlight of your trip?
The people I'm meeting. I've watched for so long. I met General Flynn, first gentleman I met when I got here. I've watched these people. I've admired them. I've respected them. I've looked at them. I've watched many of them rise up from the bottom. And I know what many of them have gone through. We'll get on to talking about yours privately in our own discussion. I know the attacks and the relentless campaigns to try and stop any voices that rise up that are not controllable. So when I watch these people where they start out, I sat down with Tim Pool, done a long form discussion on his show and my show, to hear his story, and because I know what's gone on in the background. So to finally be in the United States after I've watched the pain that America went through, and I don't know if Americans really understand the weight that this has and the hope that we have gained in Europe from the election of Donald Trump. The election of Donald Trump wasn't about saving the United States of America. It was about saving Western civilization. You've given us light at the end of the tunnel. There's a ripple coming from America for free speech. We don't have free speech. I don't know if you really understand the value of your constitution.
I don't think people do.
We don't have it.
No.
We had 12,000 people last year arrested and detained and charged for social media posts in Britain.
Including you.
I spent 18 months in prison. I got an 18-month prison.
Briefly, the First Amendment in the United States, you don't have. Do you have any type of free speech protections in the UK?
We have no free speech. They talk about. Do you know when I sat and listened to Keir Starmer talk in the Oval Office and sit and talk about, we have a proud history of free speech? I thought, yeah, history. We have a history. We don't have free speech. And also, free speech isn't free. And when free speech has consequence, it's not free speech. Whether it be cancel culture, whether it be violence, all these different things. And also, the word free speech, it sort of undervalues it, I think, because our previous forefathers sacrificed everything, went through every emotion of pain and suffering that families can think about in order to preserve. We are custodians of that. We're meant to be the custodians of that value. And we've given it away. We've given it away in Britain. We've given it away in Europe. And you know, as I talk about hope, like hope gives you something. And when you elected Donald Trump, when J.D. Vance stood in Munich, when Rubio stood, and we heard them telling our governments and warning them about free speech and that their allies have to still stick to these values. They don't want free speech. And the sad thing about Britain now and Europe, our leaders don't believe in it. In fact, free speech is their enemy. It's their enemy. If it wasn't for Elon Musk's purchase of X, we'll get on to discussing, but I believe there's currently a cultural revolution happening in Great Britain, something that in years to come we'll look back upon this era. None of that would have been happening without Elon Musk purchasing X. None of it. None of it.
Yeah, he changed the course of Western civilization.
He won't be remembered for putting rockets on space. He won't be remembered for free speech.
Free speech. So we're here with Tommy Robinson. I'm just going to briefly introduce the bio that I have for you, Tommy.
It's not off Wikipedia, is it?
No. We devised this. I mean, I hope it's accurate. My Wikipedia is horrible, by the way. I didn't even read your Wikipedia.
Oh, mate, don't mind.
Is it?
I always say to people, don't judge me.
Is it locked? You can't edit it. It's locked, or is it? I
don't know. I don't even know, but it's just outrageous.
I don't think people trust Wikipedia.
I don't sound
anymore.
like a good guy if you read it.
So, you and I could talk for 5 hours. I think one of the challenges of this is we have only an hour, so we're going to do our best. They really don't like you, but they don't like me either. But we both have this in common, this free speech campaign. The difference is you live in the United Kingdom and I live in the United States. You've been the center of many different legal issues. You've been in prison. How long were you in prison?
Most recently, I got 18 months in prison for
18 months?
For a documentary, a factual documentary.
How many times have you been in prison?
5, 6. I've been in 10 different jails. I got 13 months in prison for reporting outside a court case about grooming gangs. And on that time I spent I spent 12 weeks on solitary,
Unbelievable.
and then we got out on appeal because we proved what happened was unlawful. Do you know the last 2 cases? Like, I started my activism. I started talking about the rape of our daughters and what's wrong with mass immigration in 2009. Within 3 weeks, I was dawn raided by the police. Since that point in 2009, I've not had one single period, not one, at all, until now, even now, where I haven't been facing court and prison. I faced a 10-year prison sentence on the 26th of October this year. I faced trial again.
You faced trial again?
I faced trial again. There's not been one period between 2009 and now, in that 15, 16 years, I've not had one bit of peace on my mind.
How are you still alive?
I've had my ups and downs, I've been in some dark places.
I mean, how have they not killed you physically?
I think they fed me to them in jail. I lost my teeth in 2012.
They fed you to what?
They handed me to them in prison.
They do what
They locked
now?
me in a room with Muslim prisoners.
Oh, they fed you to Muslims?
They literally handed me over, yeah. They set me up.
And what did they do to you?
I lost my teeth. I got battered.
They beat you up?
Yeah, they beat me up. I got
with their fists?
Yeah, with their fists. The Muslims didn't know I was coming in. So it was a visits waiting room, and as they opened the door, I just saw the beards, and I stood. I didn't even sit down. They locked me in the room, and it was a waiting room. I stood with my back to the wall, and as soon as the door shut, bang, it went. But I saw the looks on their faces. They were looking at each other. They were shocked to see me. But even there's 6 Muslims in jail now. They got 30 years in prison. They got caught with guns, bombs, suicide vests on the way to kill us. They got there 2 hours late. It's like a comedy show.
Listen, I've got so many things to ask you about. I mean, you've recently focused on grooming gang cases, immigration, failures by the media. You published Enemy of the State. That's a book, Enemy of the State.
That's my autobiography, yeah. Brings me
and you maintain a large following. You continue to shape debate. Let's face it, healthcare is a mess. Outrageous premiums, surprise bills, denied claims, and now the rates are climbing again. Medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy, even for people with insurance. That's why I switched to Impact Health Sharing. No networks, no woke nonsense, just real savings and up to 50%. You can pick your doctor, there's no surprise bills, there's 24/7 telehealth, and maternity support. Take control of your healthcare before the system decides for you. Go to ImpactOMG.com, that's ImpactOMG.com, or call 855-378-6777 now. Impact Health Sharing, built differently. This is James O'Keefe. You know me for exposing the truth and holding the corrupt elite accountable. But today I want to talk to you about protecting your own freedom, your retirement. Now, gold is soaring above $4,200 an ounce right now and climbing towards $5,000. That's up over 45% this year alone, with silver closing in on $60 an ounce. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and major banks are now forecasting gold between $5,000 and $6,000 within the next 6 to 12 months. And that's why I've partnered with American Independence Gold, a veteran-owned company where proceeds from every sale help support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. And right now, my followers get a free gold bar with every purchase of $10,000 or more. Go to O'KeefeMediaGold.com, that's O'KeefeMediaGold.com, or call 833-324-4653. That's 833-324-GOLD. This is James O'Keefe, where freedom isn't given, it's secured. This is not financial advice. Consult a professional before making investment decisions. I mean, I guess before we dive into some of this, I mean, I want to ask you, like, why do you do it? But I don't want to ask you, like, what are you doing? I don't want to ask the importance of free speech. Like, but what you are a different type of human to endure as much of abuse as you've endured. Prison, jail, and you keep going. You're resilient as fuck. Most people aren't that way. Most people give up, they quit, they can't take the abuse. And you just keep coming again and again and again. So, like, why? Why do you do it?
I'd say my upbringing. So I get some criticism about my upbringing. I was born in Luton Town. Luton's the roughest, rated as the roughest town in Britain. I had a rough upbringing in a real town with real problems. So I think that if I didn't have that upbringing, then the first time I got a punch on the nose, I'd have walked away, or the first death threat, I'd have walked away. But I'd been through quite a lot as a youngster anyway, growing up around the town of Luton. But also my mother. There's a video that went viral where recently, that court case you're on about, where I received 18 months. Look, I was terrified. I'm scared a lot, yeah, because I face real threats. I feel just before coming out here this week, I received a phone call which I recorded from counter-terrorism police, and they told me that I've been named in this month's ISIS magazine to be killed. And their advice, and this is the 12th or 13th of these warnings I've had. I had one about Al-Shabaab first in 2011. But these warnings are called an Osman warning, where the government give you official warning, and the police, they have to, because they are under intelligence and that your life is in danger. Now, this is for American audience. Their warning to me was, leave, we can't protect you, we can't keep you safe, and if you stay, you cannot get a weapon to defend yourself or you will face prosecution. So as my government welcome in ISIS fighters, 4 times as many ISIS fighters, 4 times as many British Muslims joined ISIS in a 3-year period than ever joined the British military, and they're all back. My hometown, what I experienced growing up, I was born in 1982, there was 1 mosque, there's now 45. Luton is named as by the CIA as the epicenter for terrorist activity.
Where is Luton relative to London?
It's 30 miles north of London.
Okay.
There's a 50% Pakistani Kashmiri population.
And was that true in the 80s and 90s? It was rough. What do you mean by rough?
It's rough. Luton's always been rough. Luton is a violent town, a low poverty town, a town stricken with poverty problems, criminality problems.
And it was just your upbringing in the sense of you mentioned your mother, your father. What was that like?
I just experienced. Luton's a rough town. It's a violent town. But when I say about my upbringing, my mother, at the time recently when I was facing 18 months in prison, there's a phone call and I played it on a podcast, and it's my mum saying, "You do not give up. You never give up. You fight and you give. You do not. You do and don't." Your
mother's still alive.
Yeah, she's still alive. You don't let them get you mentally. Don't let them break you mentally. So I think my mum's always been. My mum's a fierce, small Irish mother.
Your mother's Irish?
Yeah, she's Irish. Full of love, but the most amazing woman in the world.
What's your mother's maiden name?
Carol.
Carol.
Yeah.
Is she your mother's born in Ireland?
My mother's born in Ireland.
And your father?
My father, I don't know, so my real father I haven't seen since I was young, since I was 10, but the man that brought me up, the man I call Dad, is Scottish.
Scottish?
Yeah, Tommy.
And what does he think about all this?
He's supportive. He's totally my family. My mum wasn't supportive in the early days. She was supportive, but she sort of was scared. She got threatened with her job, the death threats, the house gets attacked. When I first started talking about these issues, we faced all these problems, and I remember my mum was crying all the time. And at the time of starting activism, I formed an organisation called the English Defence League. 2009. I had a child. I had a family. I had 7 properties and 2 businesses. So I had a lot to lose. And I think my family were just pleading with me, please stop, because 3 times in the first 6 months, the police kicked our doors off. Now, that was intimidation, and that was supposed to make us stop. Now, that has the adverse effect on me. If you tell me I can't draw a cartoon, Mohammed, I'll draw 10. You tell me I can't, and that's just always been I guess that's my personality.
So is that why you got involved in the Islam? Because they were telling you what you can't say, and it was coming from a freedom of speech?
No, I got involved, and if anyone has time, I'll give a presentation at Oxford University. It's the first time I got to say who I was. And I walked into Oxford University in 2015. And I remember saying, this is a long way from the streets of Luton town, yeah? Because Luton's a poor, Oxford's for the most privileged. And I got to give my presentation, and when I walked in there, they hated me. They were booing me, they were shouting at me. I was getting called a fascist. By the end of that presentation, I got a standing ovation, because I took them out of their life and said, come to my life. Come and listen to what it's like for me where I grew up, and showed them video evidence. And after September the 11th in my hometown, after September 11th, we had posters, Magnificent 19. They celebrated a march through my town. They celebrated in the colleges. And I showed the pictures of these. So everything I went through and said, I know you didn't grow up in this place, but this is where I grew up. This is what I saw. So all of those visions of what I saw, my cousin was a victim of these grooming gangs. She woke up naked with a group of Muslim men, bearded men, raping her at 14 years old. She escaped from the house, and then her father picked her up. The police done nothing. So all of these issues and all of these problems I saw, they shaped my worldview. I
mean, your mother, she sounds like she's supportive. She loves you. She's telling you not to let them break you.
She was scared in the early years, and I went on a show in 2011. So those first 2 years were very difficult because all my family were being targeted. The police went and got warrants for my mum's bank accounts, my dad, every member of my family. They went through everyone. They arrested my pregnant wife. They investigated everyone to try and shut us down. The reason they wanted to shut us down, no one knew about these rape gangs. We were talking about them on the street. We formed a street movement across the country of young men who weren't willing to back down. We're coming. When you're not going to beat us in submission.
What? I have so many questions.
Yeah.
And my mind is racing with questions, so I'm trying to organize. What gives you the most inspiration? Is it the people that are following you, that are inspired by you? Like, what gives you
No,
that
if
extra...
you travel the country like I have, so from 2009, I knew all the problems in Luton. I set up a national organisation because I realised the problems aren't just Luton. So I went around the country and we set up divisions and bases, a bit like the Proud Boys done here, but we done it in the UK, and we swept the country. Like, it's the fastest growing street. I was working on a building site, and 6 months later, I was leading the biggest street protest movement Europe's seen. And we were taking to the streets in our thousands, young men, and we were demanding action about what was happening. Now, when I went to different towns and cities, I sat down with families who's lost their daughters, families whose daughters have been murdered. And I started listening to these stories, and what I was hearing and understanding, I couldn't believe it. Girls were missing for a week, 13-year-old children, and the police weren't doing anything. Children were being kidnapped, tortured, murdered, and nothing was happening. And I realised that this is every town and city. So what inspires me is I realise the depth of that problem. And so when I think about my problems, people say, you've been through a lot. I've been through nothing. I haven't been kidnapped. It's not me getting raped. My daughter's not missing.
True, but we're brothers from another mother. Yeah. But and my mother is very much like yours, except probably worries about me a lot. I'm sure your mother worries about you.
She's terrified.
She has to. And she probably goes through harder than you do.
Well, 2011, I done the biggest debate show in the UK, and I was young. I'd been on the streets with a movement. I've no media training. And there's a gentleman called Jeremy Paxman. And this debate has not aged well for him, but it has for me. And I sat on his show, and I said, they're raping our daughters in every town and city. And no one listened to me this time. Mm-hmm. No one believed it. It was all, there'd been a conspiracy of silence, which successfully, religious leaders, political leaders, police leaders.
Conspiracy of silence.
They'd successfully suppressed this issue and allowed it to happen for 30 to 40 years.
Is that because they're afraid of them, or is it because they're just pacifists?
No, fast forward to 2015, there was a government report in a town called Rotherham, which many people have heard of, and we found out that the police, the reason why they didn't arrest them was because they were scared of being called racist.
Okay.
The Labour Party, your Democrat Party, were facilitating it because they wanted to maintain the positive relationship with the Muslim community for their block vote. They do deals for their votes. But I remember I come home from that interview and Jeremy Paxman. I walked in my mum's door, and my mum said, "You were amazing." So she said, "Wow, like you," and that's the first time she'd probably seen, because I've never been trained in talking or I was a working class kid who didn't care about politics. I had a bit of a rough upbringing. I gravitated towards the football element growing up in Luton, which is lads going to football that don't mind a punch up. Not perfect. I look back at it now and think crazy and stupid, but that was part of the culture which I was brought up in. So when I come home, my mum's just like, "You were amazing." And since that day, my mum's been and do you know what the mad thing is? When I started in 2009, my mum used to work at a school, and there was an incident where she worked at a Catholic school, and they called, and for the first year I used a fake name, Tommy Robinson, and I wore a mask. They called all the parents in for the school to say a prayer, because one of the Muslim women who work at the school, her father, Zulfikar Khan, was debating the racist extremist leader of the English Defence League. My mum's in that meeting. And she's put her head down, and she's rang me up, and she's come out crying and said, "Are you debating someone today?" I said, "She said, yeah. The whole school are praying." And so when I got on the radio with him, because I know all the teachers are listening, I just said, in your ideal society, if you get what you want, what would the punishment be for homosexuality? And he's like, and I grilled him on these questions that I know under Sharia, and he said there would be a punishment. I said, "So what would that punishment be, sir?" So, because I know people are listening, I'm getting called an extremist and a racist here. These people want to kill people. But I said that to my mum, and the difference is all those teachers that were praying against me, a year or two later, with the progression of once I got my chance to tell my story and got on chat shows to debate my issues, they're all messaging my mum saying he was brilliant, he's doing great, we're praying for him. So there's been a long journey where I started out in 2009, labelled, smeared, attacked, deplatformed.
You started 2009.
I started the street protest movement. I first started in 2004.
It's the same year that I started Project Veritas. Well, so you and I are about the same age. You're 43. I'm 41.
Yeah.
So it's been a journey. Initially you were targeted and smeared, and then you kind of came out of that.
I come out of it. Do you know what? I've come in 2017. So I led a street protest movement. I got to 2015. There'd been people imprisoned with what we would do, because this was before social media, it was before the power of the phone, it was before you could sit and have these discussions, it was before all that. So what you needed to do...
You're talking about 2009 now?
2009. Okay. It was the early days of Facebook. There
still was Twitter, but it wasn't any video or anything like that. It
wasn't, yeah. So to get an audience and discuss topics, you'd hit city centres in your thousands, the media would come, you'd use the mainstream media to project your message, but they'd always attack you. So I'd done 4 or 5 years, and I felt that I took that as far as I could take it. I come out of prison, got put in prison. I come out of prison, and Ezra Levant in Canada said, Tommy, do me a video, be a journalist. And I said, I'm too busy because I was getting back to life, trying to earn money. I'd been for 4 years. From the start of the English Defence League, they put me on a financial restraint. They closed my businesses, shut me down, ruined everything, just because I was talking about issues that they'd been hiding. And the reason they're hiding these issues, these are the reality of problems from mass immigration. This is what they're importing to our nation. And they want to continue importing it because they're importing a replacement population that will be loyal voters that they can rely on, which what they've done this now in your country for the last, under Joe Biden. And I'm not sure Americans quite understand the seed that's been planted here. Like, your immigration policy used to be high-skilled, educated people coming in. They opened your borders. You're now receiving from Kashmir, Pakistan, from Afghanistan, from Somalia. You're receiving the lowest of the low, and you're receiving a very different community than the Hispanic communities you've been used to. So whilst you think you've had problems with immigration, you've got no idea what's coming.
You know, I was just in Sweden 2 weekends ago.
I saw. Great work.
And I went into this Antifa, and I dressed up with a I don't know how to pronounce it. Camise.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they didn't bat an eye. Now, I grew a little beard. I'm very, I'm Irish. So, I mean, I guess when I have the hat on it, like, is he like from Uzbekistan? But they didn't bat an eye. That might be an idea for you. You mentioned earlier that the United Kingdom people, Europeans, they can't say no. They can't object to Islamic. So if you just pose as Islamic, they can't say no to you, right?
Yeah.
They can't judge you.
No.
They can't stop you.
I
was shocked at how the Antifa people were afraid of being considered racist.
It would destroy their worldview as well if they accepted any of the things which are a reality, the problems of Islam. Then it would just break.
They're afraid of being called racist. Yeah. So you can almost
everyone is.
But you could almost use that like jujitsu. You could use that against them. Yeah. Make them live up to their own book of rules. I'm sure have you done some hidden cam work, undercover work?
Yeah.
With the Islamic, how is that?
Not with the Islamic community, no. I've done it with the BBC.
You've done it against the BBC?
Oh, you should watch it. It's the best documentary. Do you know this documentary got me?
What's the name of it?
It's called Panodrama. So Panorama are the BBC that currently Donald Trump's about to sue, yeah? Because they altered the footage. You know, there's a big case.
Yes.
So that Panorama, and I don't know how they're still standing, but Panorama, I come out of prison custody in 2017. I was in prison for reporting on a court case. I was taken off the streets. They tried to put reporting restrictions on anyone knowing what they'd done to me. Mm-hmm. I wasn't even asked to plead guilty. I was outside court working. They brought me inside court. The judge summons me in, and he gave me 13 months contempt of court. Now, contempt of court, you don't get a jury. The judge has ultimate power. So he brought me in 13 months. He sent me within 2 hours. I was in prison for reporting on a case. They said I breached a reporting restriction because they use reporting restrictions to hide everything from the public. So I come out of prison, but whilst I was in prison in that case, 660,000 people signed a petition to have me freed. A Free Tommy movement grew. Protest, 30,000 people marched on Parliament. Many Americans come over. What's your congressman?
Which state?
No, he's got all the brothers who are Democrats.
We can find out.
His mind slips me. He flew over. But when that happened, so I come out of jail and I got told from people that Panorama are contacting anyone I've ever fell out with, anyone I've sacked, and they're working on a documentary called Tommy Takedown. Yeah. So what they're about to do. BBC. They're working on Tommy Takedown.
That's just going to help you, in my opinion.
Well, what I did is I sent a girl undercover with a camera to sit with Panorama's executives.
English or American?
English. And what she got. Right, this is the ultimate proof. You know, we've heard the allegations of fake news. We all know what they're doing, but we can't prove what they're doing. I proved it. I nailed them. I got them sitting there, and what they've done is they're working on this documentary, and then they contact me for an interview at the end. They don't know I've been covertly recording them. So when I sit down, I put a screen on the wall, and then I sit there opposite the gentleman like this, and the screen's behind me. All the producers are there, and I start off by saying, would you ever tell anyone what to say in the documentary? Is that journalism? He said, no. I said, press play. And on the wall behind me is him telling someone, what I want you to say is this, and this. But what they've done, this is where you understand, this is how they operate. Yeah. You have the BBC, and then you have far left organisations, whether it be like the equivalent of Media
Matters.
The equivalent, yeah.
What's yours in the United Kingdom?
Hope, not hate.
What is it?
Hope, not hate.
Hope Not Hate.
Sounds
Okay.
wonderful, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
You have a George Soros-funded organisation whose job is to intimidate and scare people, but to blackmail. I've done 2 exposés, and I've got so many covert recordings. Now, what they did is they were blackmailing. So I had 2 colleagues who worked for me. And then when I went to jail, they stopped working for me, to a gay couple. Yeah, they were great at their job, but they stopped working for me. Now, when they left Rebel Media, they started giving information to the left, who are paying them, against the right-wing personalities. I think they gave up Alex Jones. They gave up different people. They were going around covertly recording. They were giving information. So then Hope Not Hate started blackmailing them.
Blackmail means that they're going to smear and target
They're
people.
going to let people know that you've been giving us information.
I see.
Yeah, and then they also, so what happens is Hope Not Hate contact my ex-employees and say, you need to sit down and you need to say all these things about Tommy Robinson. So BBC get an interview, Panorama, with my ex-colleagues who are sat there, and during the middle of the interview, they stop there and Hope Not Hate take them outside and threaten them more and say, you're not saying enough, you need to say this, this and this. So what they do is they either blackmail or they pay. They get people on TV to say all these mad things, and then they run it around the world. So when I sat down with the BBC, I said, you're the BBC, taxpayer funded. Who's in charge of this documentary? And they said, we are. Are you working along any extremist organisations or left-wing NGOs on this documentary? They said no. So I played the covert recordings. I said, but so why are Hope Not Hate, who are named by the Swedish government as a far-left violent extremist organisation, why are they present during my documentary? And then I played the recordings of them. They sexually abused the man, one of my ex-colleagues. So I played all of this. But the best part of it was, they were making, this is why I don't believe when they make sexual allegations, I got him, so this ex-employee of mine who went undercover, I got her to go to them and say, I've got recordings of Tommy Robinson being aggressive in an argument with me. And they say, what was it about? And they say it was about a disagreement about work. And they say, don't worry. And then she says, yeah, but I was really screaming at him. I was saying this, I was saying that. They said, don't worry, we'll clip all of that out. Yeah. They said, we're going to make this into a sexual thing against Tommy Robinson.
And just for our audience, you've already released this, or you will release this?
No, I released this. The consequence of releasing this, I released this outside. I hired the biggest screen you can hire in the UK. I put it outside the BBC's offices.
When did you do this?
2018. This got me deleted. I was erased.
You and I did something extremely similar around the exact same time. I did this with the Washington Post, and it really hurt me as well. I mean, you and I
got sent back to jail.
You were sent back to prison.
Within 48 hours. Yeah. So this is the power they have. So
Who's they?
The establishment. So the
judges.
The government, the corporate. So I released this documentary, and within 48 hours, it's on 2 million views. At that point, Facebook removed me. They made me a figure of hate on the same level as Serbian warlords who massacred 5,000 people in one day. So not only did they remove me, they made it so you can't mention my name.
I want to ask you some questions. You've been through a lot of pain. You were in jail for how long?
I've done 13 months, 10 months, 12 months, 18 months.
In that case, how long were you in jail?
The 18-month one, the most recent one, I spent 7 months on solitary confinement.
And solitary, so day to day, I know you've been asked this question before, but day to day, hour to hour, was it just in stoic endurance, or how did you get through that time?
So in the 2017 sentence, I went into jail with one person and come out another. That's how.
You went in one person and
I went in one
out another.
person and come out another.
What was? Tell me about those two men. How did they differ?
Because I went in. I only spent 12 weeks. 12 weeks of solitary confinement.
12 weeks of solitary.
At that time. So I'd done 22 weeks in 2011. But I was all right then. Like, it affected me. I had problems, but not like the case in 2000. Do you know what they done to me? So, and you don't know what's real and what's not real.
But
so,
just hold on. So you spent 3 months in solitary confinement.
In 2017.
In 2017. And you said you came in, you went in one person, you came out another.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean by that? You came out like
I came
what?
out on edge.
On edge.
On edge. I couldn't connect with my kids, my family.
Disassociation.
Yeah, I struggled. So, I struggled for years. I had quick temper. I was ready to blow. So my personality had been changed.
Is that still the case, or have you healed from this?
So I got to a point where I just come out of another 7 months. So I've just and again, do you know when I had this 7 months? They had a warning. when I was in there, so I sat down with a psychiatrist in the first week because when they put you on solitary confinement, they have to have meetings every week. The meetings with the psychiatrist, the head of the prison. So when I sat down, I asked the psychologist, "What's 7 months?" Because I hadn't done 7 months before. What's 7 months of solitary confinement going to do to me? She said, it's going to be devastating. So I said, how are you doing this? This was for a civil offence.
But how did you pass the time?
I passed the time with the love. Do you know, I read letters. So I got 20,000 birthday cards.
You were allowed, was that?
I got 20,000 birthday cards.
They send you letters in prison.
So I got sacks every day.
Sacks?
Sacks every day. The public support I receive. When I say I got sacks, and I'm sitting on my own every day, all day. I went into prison and didn't see another person till I left. So I walked in and walked out without seeing a prisoner. I just sat in my room.
You didn't see another person?
Didn't see another person.
Did they let you go outside for an hour?
Yeah, I got outside, but on my own. I got put in a cage on my own. So you walk around, there's a video. You walk around in a cage on your own, and then you go sit back in your room on your own.
You had no human interaction?
No. And they mess with everything. Your phone calls. Do you know, so the period when I went in one person and come out another, I'm sat on solitary confinement. I'm sat in a cell. The prison officers open up my cell and say, where's your wife? I said, and do you know what they'd done? So they'd get me...
Where's your wife?
Yeah, they'd get me out of my cell. I'll explain it. They'd get me out of my cell when the prison is in total lockdown. So between 1 and 2, when everyone's on lockdown, they'd walk me from my cell. They'd put me in an exercise yard on my own. Then I'd have my shower. Then I'd get put back in my cell. Now, they'd done that at 1 o'clock. My wife worked in a school. My kids were at school. So the only time I got the chance to use a phone was that time. So I didn't even get to speak to my family. I'm just sat in a room. And then they knock and say, where's your wife? And I say... How am I meant to know where my wife is? They said, we have intelligence she's going to be attacked with acid.
Intelligence that she's
going to be attacked with acid. We need to know where she is. And then they shut the door.
Oh, I see.
And then they shut the door.
As a form to abuse
Well, they
you?
knocked on my wife's door and gave her the intelligence. They knocked on my mum and dad's door and give... So it's this intelligence... So they said, we have intelligence, people want to...
Did your wife visit you in the jail through the plexiglass? Or...
Yeah, she come to visit me. Even then, you'd have a...
Do they allow visitation?
They allow visitation.
How often was that?
I had... that time, one every 3 weeks, one visit every 3 weeks.
That's what they allowed.
And it's meant to be a 2-hour visit. And then they'd have you sat in your cell, and you know your time is there, and you can watch the time going down. They'd get you after an hour.
I see.
Every little thing.
I see.
But when I say I come out a mess, an absolute mess. And even most recently, I come out a mess this time again.
It's like you healed and then you went back.
It took me years. It took me years.
To
I had
heal.
self-abuse. I'd say self-abuse. I turned to alcohol. I was in some dark places.
And how are you doing now with that?
So I found in 2021, I found my answer to my problems, because I had lots of problems, lots of pressure, constant pressure. And I found my answer, which was physical exercise and gym. And I can't believe it took me 39 years to find it.
Find gym.
I found that I need it. You know, now, if I go for 4 or 5 days without physical hard exercise, I will start to spiral.
How about your diet? I mean, you can take care of your body. Like, you eating healthy?
In that 3 months, I had 5 tins of tuna a week. That was my diet. 5 tins of tuna, because all the food is prepared in the kitchen. The prison I was in was a 33% Muslim population. So the kitchens, it's all run by them. So they used to open my door and give me my meal with my name on it. Yeah, my name's on it. That's come from the kitchen, and you can get anything in jail. So I thought, I'm not going to die in jail eating a poisoned meal, right? So I'm conscious of these things. So all I had £10 a week. So I had 5 tins of tuna a week to live on. I come out,
like tuna fish.
I lost 3 stone. I come out, I thought I looked all right, yeah? I've lost loads of weight, and I come out thinking I've lost weight, and I didn't know I was getting released. So I'm sat in my prison cell, and then my door started banging, and it's an officer, and he said, you're going home. I said, what? He said, you're going home, it's breaking news. So my lawyers didn't tell me, because they didn't want to get my hopes up, but they got before the High Court of Appeal, and they proved that everything they'd done was illegal. So then I got to walk out of jail, but I didn't know I was getting out of jail. So I'm sat there laying there thinking I've got another three months left. Boom, you're going home. And then I was and when I've come walking out of jail, like, read the comments. I thought I looked all right, but everyone what have they done to him? Because I went in weighty, normal, healthy, and I come out
so much weight.
Come out shriveled mess.
Yeah.
Which is solitary confinement is mental torture, but my government couldn't let me get killed because the world's watching, so they tried to destroy me, and they successfully did. But at the same time, even when I walked out of jail this time, the first thing I done was I gave the date of our event, 13th. I walked out, I knew the cameras are there. I'd said on the 13th of September, we're taking over London, we're sending them a message. And it was the biggest event in British history on the 13th of September.
I remember that. I remember that.
United the Kingdom event.
That was those videos were insane. It was crazy. How many people were there?
Millions. Millions. I'll
So-
give you the overview.
So those bags of mail that you got, is it true that these people were living like vicariously through you because you have strength that they can't do, or
They
you're
feel
enduring?
like, I realise that they're emotionally attached to my story because they feel like I'm taking the hits for them.
You're taking the hits for them.
So they feel like, because I haven't backed down and I've maintained on the truth of the message,
Yeah.
I have never changed my message. I've stood and even like this, when I released this documentary, now,
Which documentary?
so after Panodrama, I was deleted. I was invisible. Yeah, I was, and then there was a story that I reported on in the north of England, and it was a Syrian refugee who got a bottle of water poured over him. Mm-hmm. Now the media said he got waterboarded, and the media story was that the Syrian refugee was a victim of racism. The English boy was a racist bully. I start getting contacted very quickly by parents saying this isn't true. That's not the story. And they started telling me that it was the total opposite story. So I then made a video saying, and the British public had raised £180,000 in 24 hours for the Syrian refugee. I made a video saying, look, this is wrong. Okay, you're being lied to. They come for me and took me through the courts. And they sued me. And as they were suing me, and they told me to apologise. And I said, I'm not apologising. It was the truth.
In the courtroom?
Yeah, I reported the truth. So they took me through the courts. Now, what I did is to prove the truth. I knew what I said was the truth. They closed down the school. That's how big this story was. Okay, they tried to get rid of it. They talked about this. This story was worldwide viral. It was on CNN. It was in Australia. It was in Israel. It was in China. The UN, at the United Nations meeting, they spoke about this story. Yeah, because they said that this boy escaped war only to be the victim of war in the playground, and he was being terrorised because he was a Syrian refugee. So I went and wore a hidden button camera, and I knocked on the school teachers' doors.
I remember this.
And,
I remember this, 2023, yes.
and I knocked on the school teachers' doors, and I got the evidence that the school teachers were paid. All of them were paid. I got 7 teachers saying, like the Asian teacher comes out of his house and he says, Tommy, they paid us.
I saw this.
Yeah, and I'm recording him, yeah?
You're the one recording it.
I'm recording him. So when I get to court, I produced the evidence that not only were they paid, but the entire story was fabricated. They created the story to push a narrative, which is what so many stories are. We don't know how many stories are lies like this. So I produced all this evidence to the judge, which absolutely, this story was a far bigger story than Tommy Robinson, because the courts have been weaponised and politicised against all of you. Donald Trump. Like, we know, you've seen it, America's seen it. But what I managed to do was get covert recordings and prove every step of how they operated. So what
is the outcome that you want? Like, what is your goal of your movement specifically? Because it seems like your courts are not based upon law.
No,
I've never had a
jury. I've never had a jury.
You've never had a jury.
Never ever had a jury.
I mean, sometimes a jury can go either way.
Well, I've
because
never
there
had
could
the
be
opportunity.
these Somalians on your jury, and then you're screwed there.
I've never had it.
But the point is like your goal is not isn't political. It's to expose the truth.
My goal. So in 2015, when I started the journalism, I thought, do you know what I need to do? I need to let everyone see what I've seen. I need to let them understand what it's like here. I need to let them understand that this is a blueprint.
You want people to see what you've seen.
I want them to see what I've seen, because if they're awake, because they need to be awake, they need to understand what's happened. They need to understand the danger.
What percentage of people in Great Britain are awake?
Now, they're awake.
What, 50-50, 20-75?
No, I'd say now, everywhere I walk, people are... Something huge is happening, something historic has happened in the last 12 to 18 months. The shift in the country is insane.
What do you attribute that to?
I attribute it to Elon Musk.
X. Okay.
And I attribute it to your election in the United States.
Which one?
Donald Trump, the most recent one.
The most recent one?
You had to... See, all these things had to happen. When I got 18 months for a film that 167 million people end up watching, because Elon Musk pinned it, everyone shared it, I knew. So as I got all this evidence in the court case, they bankrupt me for £1.3 million, but I had the evidence that the whole thing's a lie. So I made it into a film. So the judge, when he bankrupted me, he gave me an order that said nothing that has been come out in this courtroom can ever be shown outside this courtroom, or you will get 2 years years in prison. So he gave me this warning. And so I left the UK. I was broken. I got divorced. I was suffering still from PTSD. I was diagnosed with severe PTSD from the prison sentence and the solitary confinement. I left the UK. And I knew, and that was the first time I have lived my life, that if you worry about consequence, you will never bring change. If I worried about consequence, I wouldn't walk outside my door because people want to kill me. But if you worry about consequence, you're not going to change anything. You have to just do what's right and do it full and stick by it. But in that year, when I got the court verdict in 2021, whatever it was, I failed myself. I failed journalism. I failed the British public because I was too scared. I should have come out and released a film, but I was scared. Because I didn't want another. I thought I can't do 2 years of solitary confinement.
You can't do more 2 years.
I can't do it. I can't do it to my kids because my kids have lived through it. It's not just me that suffers. Your family suffer. So I thought I can't do it. So I moved abroad, and I was suffering. I was low. I was depressed.
Where did you move?
I went to Tenerife. I left because I thought my kids are better off. I thought my family's better off because of all the attacks. So I thought I'm not safe. They're not safe, and I've now lost everything. I've lost my marriage. I've lost my home. I've lost everything. They've bankrupted me, and I went abroad, and then I was suffering. I was low. I was totally deplatformed from every social.
What year was this?
This was 21.
2000, recently, 4 years ago.
And I was deplatformed from every social media in the world. So I had no voice. I had Getter. I opened Getter, which was a lifeline. I had Parler. So I was still working and still giving my message. And then I I was in Spain. It's 2023, 24. And October 7th has just happened. The streets are full across every Western nation of people, of Islamists working alongside the left, hatred at a level we've never seen. And I'm there, and I'm sat. I can remember where I was. I'm in a restaurant, and my phone's popped up, and I've had a message saying your account's back on X, because Elon had took over X, but I didn't get my account back for 9 months or a year. So I looked. And I saw Katie Hopkins, who's a very prominent vocal voice.
I've met her.
Well, do you know what? She doesn't. I moan a lot about what's happened to me. She doesn't. Yeah? You've got to hear her story. Sit her down here. Hear her life story.
I'll do that.
Hear what they done to her. They took her home. When I left, she left. She fled to America. She left her family because she thought they're safe without me. They destroyed her. Yeah, They went for her. So they went for everyone. So I leave, and then my phone pops up. My account's back. And then I went... And I searched, I said, Katie, your account's there, my account's there. What's going on? And I couldn't get in my account. So from that point, I thought, right, the fight's on. So that really lit me up, yeah? I thought, now I can reach people. So I flew back to the UK, and I organised a demonstration. And it was organised for Armistice Day, which is our Remembrance Day. Now, I've become known as the person who can galvanate and bring people out on the streets. If I make a call and say, we're coming, yeah? And people are listening and following. But I learned a lot. Remember, I felt like I'd done my apprenticeship with the English Defence League because we were boisterous, we were loud, we behaved in not such a great manner at times. But we had to at that moment in history because we needed them to hear us. So going fast forward now, I've learned a lot. And then so I come back to the UK and I organise a demonstration and I make a video saying they've took over our capital city every week. Every week, not this Saturday. They're not going to ruin Remembrance Day because we're coming in our thousands. So I made this video. Do you know what the government done? The film that I'm talking about, they wrote to my the Attorney General contacts my solicitor and said we are contemplating, and I'd been gone for 2 years, so they didn't care about me. I've been gone. We're contemplating prosecuting Tommy for contempt of court for the film which exposed them all because it had been leaked in the United States at a cinema in Florida. I hadn't released it, but my injunction was such that if anyone sees this footage, I still get done. So they made a video threatening me. I think they wanted me to stop my demonstration. Now I know I've got a platform. So I reply. I make a video online saying, Mr. Attorney General, go fuck yourself. Yeah, I'm not like you're not. Let everyone see what you're going to do, and then a week. So we have our first demonstration. Now, what we've done is, if you change the culture, you change the politics. Now I'm back. I've got a platform. Yeah. Katie Hopkins is back. We're back. Other creators are back. So I contacted 15 creators and I set up a meeting, and we spent 2 days. We spent months, but 2 days locked together.
Let's face it, healthcare is a mess. Outrageous premiums, surprise bills, denied claims, and now the rates are climbing again. Medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy, even for people with insurance. That's why I switched to Impact Health Sharing. No networks, no woke nonsense, just real savings and up to 50%. You can pick your doctor, there's no surprise bills, there's 24/7 telehealth, and maternity support. Take control of your healthcare before the system decides for you. Go to impactomg.com, that's impactomg.com, or call 855-378-6777 now. Impact Health Sharing, built differently. This is James O'Keefe. You know me for exposing the truth and holding the corrupt elite accountable. But today I want to talk to you about protecting your own freedom, your retirement. Now, gold is soaring above $4,200 an ounce right now and climbing towards $5,000. That's up over 45% this year alone, with silver closing in on $60 an ounce. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and major banks are now forecasting gold between $5,000 and $6,000 within the next 6 to 12 months. And that's why I've partnered with American Independence Gold, a veteran-owned company where proceeds from every sale help support the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. And right now, my followers get a free gold bar with every purchase of $10,000 or more. Go to O'KeefeMediaGold.com, that's O'KeefeMediaGold.com, or call 833-324-4653. That's 833-324-GOLD. This is James O'Keefe, where freedom isn't given, it's secured. This is not financial advice. Consult a professional before making investment decisions.
So this is the concept you and I were talking about before we went on the air, which is that the future is not institutions, it's individuals.
It's individuals.
You're talking about citizen journalists.
So citizen journalists. So I contacted, whether you call them influencers, citizen journalists, I contacted everyone who had experienced censorship but had got through it. And we brought us together and I said, right, brainstorm now for 2 days. What's the most important values to us? Let's not talk about what we disagree on.
What divides us, what unites us.
Yeah, let's not talk about anything we disagree on. Let's find...
And how did that exercise go?
It went surprisingly successful.
Oh, yeah.
And Jordan Peterson flew in. I told him what we're planning. I said, we are planning, because a cultural revolution can't start here. It can't start with the educated. It has to start here, at the bottom. It comes from the streets. So I said, we are the streets. We are the people on the streets.
What did you guys agree upon?
We agreed on free speech. We agreed on preventing sexual exploitation of children. We agreed that Islam is a problem. We agreed our culture is a Judeo-Christian culture, and that has to be the forefront of anything moving forward. We have to get back to the roots of what built this nation. The nation was built, I see an interview with the Queen, what built Britain? The Bible built Britain. Yeah, even if you don't believe in Christianity, the 10 Commandments is a perfect base.
Are you a Christian?
I am now. I wasn't.
When did you become a Christian?
I started my journey in 2024.
Recently?
When we started this movement, so we agreed on these principles, and then we agreed, what I said is, they've attacked us. We're in a war. The war is a war against the mainstream media. The mainstream media are the cancer, we're the cure. Yeah. Now, if we work together, if we all agree on this cultural movement, and then because everyone had their say, this wasn't my movement. It was never meant to be a Tommy Robinson movement. This is our movement. What do you want? What's your important value? You built this. So the 15 people that started it that day, and I don't think they get the recognition. I get the recognition. It wasn't my movement. Mayor Tusi, Katie Hopkins, Lawrence Fox, all these different people come together. Lots of them come together and built something. And what we said is, if we agree, if we do a video about culture, if we need to challenge on free speech, we can click a button now. And we have the reach of the nation.
I don't think that we're doing this in the United States, what you do.
Well,
is that because, I'm asking you your perspective, is that because the United States, the egos of these influencers?
No, I don't think you've been in the danger that we're in.
I see.
We're seeing, we're all now at a point where we're in the biggest danger our country's ever been in. We're going to lose. We're losing.
That experience of you being in prison and other people facing those threats, you put your ego aside.
The demographical change is the people see it.
Well, we have demographic changes too.
But London's 33% English now.
It's what?
33% English.
33%. So it's more extreme.
So it's gone, and we've had.
How does that? I don't even know relative to the United States what that would be compared to.
You haven't had Islam. Yeah?
I see.
You've got it now, but
you
haven't
a little bit in Michigan and Minnesota.
Well, that's the seed.
But it's not as big as percentage.
When it grows and it takes over cities, you then realise, Our culture's gone. We're losing.
Well, when I was in Minnesota,
Yep.
I don't know if you saw that video where they were throwing stuff at me, but I was in Minneapolis when the shooting happened, and I'd never seen. What was weird is there were white teachers and nurses that were allied with the Somalis.
Well, that's the alliance that happened in
alliance.
Iran, it happened in Lebanon, and it's happening in London. And anyone who's come from Iran, and I hope the people from Iran get freed, but everyone who's come from Iran in the UK has told me and looks and says, we've seen this. This is the start. This is what they've done in our country.
Seed.
They line together.
But you guys, what struck me about this is that you guys sat around a table on a WhatsApp, and you guys put your ego aside. You found out what united you, and you're working together.
People told me we couldn't do it. People said you'll never get all those egos together.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, that's what people said. But
That's
then,
what I would
but the
think.
focus on it is it's not mine, it's not yours. This is the people's, and it's ours.
It's not like they're working for you. It's just a collective of
for
individuals
for a common cause of British culture. We need to make it cool to be British. We need to make it cool to be Christian.
But in America, which we're the shining city on the hill, we have the First Amendment. We're supposed to set the example. We're not doing this, and is it because there aren't the same existential dangers as you're facing?
That's what I think. I think when you get to the point we get to, and you're
Then
all
I
so
have to
desperate,
do it.
you've got
It's
to do
survival.
it. You've got to do it.
I mean, I think we should start doing it now, and we can. I think that's one of the most fascinating things you've told me, is that you've been able to put the ego aside, get the people in the room,
And
find a common collective.
And the success story, and because I've done my apprenticeship, as I say, in street protests, I'd organised 60 national protests in some of the most hostile communities in the country, and so I knew where to work. I knew how to deal with the police. So in my first negotiations with the police, I sat down with the police. So they'd sent me this warning letter. I told the Attorney General, well, don't care. Yeah, I'd come back and I sat down with the police and said, right, you know and I know, if I pick the same day as a pro-Palestinian Hamas supporting demonstration, and I bring thousands of young men to the capital, we know it's going to descend into chaos. I don't want to do that. But we want the same respect as the Black Lives Matter movement had. You didn't beat them up, you didn't attack them, they were given platforms. We want to bring families and communities together, and we want you to stay away, the police. Because what had happened in the UK, many of you may have seen this, it become loggerheads between patriots and police. The police were used, a totalitarian state has the tentacles and the weapons. The weapon is the media, the weapons the judiciary, the weapons are the police. And we live in a totalitarian state in the UK, no matter what anyone says. And the European Union, they are controlled states, they want to get rid of freedom, they want total control, and they use these weapons against you, the media, the police. So when I sat down with the police, I said, we don't want to clash with you. So what I'll tell you now, we'll police ourselves. Because from my time in the English Defence League, we were a group of football supporters across the country. There's a group set up called the Football Lads Alliance, which is uniting all the football clubs. So we can have influence, we've got strong men, we will make sure our supporters behave, but we want you to stay away. We want to put up a cultural celebration of who we are. We don't want to come, we're not coming out against immigration, we're coming out for British identity, for British culture. Mm-hmm. And our first event, 30,000 people turned up. But here was the winning formula. What we did is we sent VIP treatment and access to the event to the TikTokers and YouTubers. So we treated them like royalty. And we had a media pen for them, not for the mainstream. We told them, I remember the Daily Mail contacted me, I just laughed, go away. You're poison. You're not coming to report. You're coming to attack. Now, these live streamers, they're coming to report. They've not got no agenda. They're coming to live streaming it. And if you want to live stream and things go wrong, you live stream. Yeah. But we bought them, and at the end of that event, we had 80,000 people watching live, and 30,000 patriots turned up. And I got up one by one at the end, each live streamer, each TikToker, some of them were small accounts. I said, get up here and introduce yourself to these 880,000 people. How do people follow you? How do people support you? And our vision is that we are the media. We need to create the new media in the UK.
You already have.
Yeah, we have, yeah. And so we've done that. And then we had our next event, which was, so we went from 30,000 on the 30th of June, and on the 20th, and we showed people that you can come out, you can celebrate. And on the 27th of July, we had 100,000 patriots.
So let me, there's so much, Tommy, that you're doing. I mean, we have a little limited time, but I have this, the Rape of Britain documentary. I have clips from that. I have the social media posts that you've got arrested over. I've got on the ground exposing, this is on the streets of Paris's African district. I mean, you and I could spend 5 hours, but in listening to you talk, you're a leader of a mass movement. You've created a mass movement. You've had to endure so much pain and suffering. Like, the process is your punishment. The
core
power
process is your punishment.
What's that?
The core. So,
But the powers that be,
Yeah.
your ability to be resilient and to come out of those jails, and you may go to jail again, right? But your ability to come out of that and not be broken by it, like that book Unbroken. Well, you have been broken, but you're here.
Yeah.
You're alive.
Yeah, I've carried on fighting.
You seem to be doing okay. I'm sure you're. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was diagnosed with PTSD from my time, from my little stint. The shit I've been through, not as nowhere near you, but just the fact that you survive it is a victory. Yeah, it's a victory. But in making you're a leader of a mass movement. What are the keys to being successful in making that mass movement? What are the ingredients?
I wish I would have learned what I learned in 2000.
Yeah, what is that?
Is that if you're physically fit, you're mentally fit. And I wish. I think we've been successful, but I think about what success I could have had if I would have learned to address my fears. So many of my dark problems come from fear. To say I was fearful. I'm still fearful. And do you know what? I've landed in America 6 days ago. I've never felt so relaxed.
Why is that?
I feel free.
In America?
Yeah.
Because of the nature of the legal system here, the air, the people.
I know there's free speech.
I see.
I'm not waiting for the government to lock me up. I'm not.
Well, you're hanging out with me, so hopefully they don't throw a grenade on this place.
I'm not. Do you know in the UK, everywhere I go, I put my back against the wall. I'm constantly waiting to get attacked. I've been attacked so many times violently.
You're not going to be arrested here.
No,
especially in Florida.
Yeah, and I just feel that.
Now, if you go to Minnesota, that might be a different situation. Your Attorney General Keith Ellison might. So I just think this is so fascinating for the audience. Fear
is
and fitness. Strong body, strong mind.
Knowing how to deal with fear, because all of my dark places come. Do you know when I lost that court case when they bankrupt me? I booked in for a 28-day rehab, yeah, and I booked in because I felt mentally destroyed, and it was as COVID was
rehab for alcohol.
Well, it was rehab. Well, I went for a break. I swear to God, I went. I thought I've got lots of problems going on here. I need a break. I'd come out of court and I don't get a break, so I booked into a 28-day where get rid of my phone. And I sat there and I'd never talked about my fears, ever talked about them. Yeah? I thought as a man, you don't talk about fear. You don't, I used to say to my son, boys don't cry, man up. We fight, yeah? And I sat there and then I was with all these strangers and you had to talk about why you're there. I said, I'm here for a break. I'm here for a break, man. And then when I started trying to talk, I broke down. And I thought, what the hell was going on? And I broke down and I couldn't talk. Each day I tried to talk and I just couldn't talk. And I thought I was emotionally broken. But then as I talked, then I started talking and sharing my fears with these people who don't know me, who weren't judging me. And I realised, and as I'm talking, I thought, wow, and my son's out there now. And I thought, I rang my wife and said, when you get a phone call, and I rang my wife, I said, get my son someone to talk to. Because I'd always told him, don't cry. He's a 10-year-old kid, scared. We're scared because people attack the house, all these things, and he's got no one to talk to. So I realised, and then I realised fitness and health and being mentally strong, and addressing some of the fears that I had because I bottled them up for so long.
So how should they address the fears?
Well, certainly fitness. Men have to be physically fit, healthy. Diet is incredibly important. I'm not saying I'm perfect now.
Yeah.
I still have my ups and downs. Yeah, but all of these things about being a strong individual, and most of it comes from, I'd say, when I'm physically fit, you know, when I train in the morning, I'm ready for the day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I'm ready. And if I go those few days without training, everything starts getting more difficult. Everything. And I'm constantly in a fight. I'm constantly in a battle.
You're always fighting. You're always fighting.
Yeah.
Do you ever have things outside of this that you can do? Like, I sail.
So I learned, this is what I learned 2019. So I go mad with work. I mean mad, like I don't stop, yeah? With my content, with work, with investigations, and then I switch off for 7 days. And I go to a foreign country and I hike mountains. And you
go to where?
I go to Spain, I go to Portugal.
And you hike?
I walk, I hike. Yeah, I take time out.
How often do you do that?
All the time. I might go mad for 2 weeks.
Like once a quarter, once a month,
no,
once a year?
Every month, every other weekend. Like, and then I take away. I stop this, so people know. People know.
Yeah.
My work colleagues know how to get hold of me, but I have to switch off. I have to switch off.
Do you have employees that work for you?
I work for a media company. Yeah, We've got 6 employees.
And you're the leader.
I'm the face.
You're the face.
I'm the face.
Do you have someone that runs the operation?
Yeah, but there's a team. See, people, I take like the Rape of Britain documentaries. Do you know the Rape of Britain documentaries? So again, I spent 12 to 18 months. I went to a town, and I want to get these points in so American audience understands the seriousness of it. The Rape of Britain, which is what I called my documentary series.
We have 2 clips from that.
Yeah.
Can we please play 101, Tommy Robinson, first snippet, sitting down with a survivor in the Rape of Britain. I want to get to this.
Some of the men that first started grooming you lived on your street.
Yeah, there's 2. Well, not even the main ones, because I was groomed by quite a lot, but 2 of them live literally 3 doors away from my mum's.
And you was how old at the time?
12.
You're 12. How old are they?
In their 20s.
In their 20s.
Let me show you.
I got raped.
Whilst we're on this.
And then you confront the accused.
We confront the accused. So I spent 12 to 18 months. You know that girl there? Do you know what she's messaged me here?
Yeah.
Please, Tommy, beg them. I need America. We need safety. She's begging to be able to get asylum in the United States. They're still gunning for her. She can't live with her kids. So, and this is now. I need to get to America. Please.
When was this sent?
This is today.
Send a. This is today.
This is today. Please, hands crossed. I really need to speak to you. You know, I've been wanting to go to America for years, and we need help. You're the only person who help us, Tommy. It's only ever been up to you.
Wow.
Listen, and do you know what? So these girls, do you know what they've done to her? They left her in harm's way and danger, purposely, the police did. On that documentary, you see it. They allowed her to be attacked, allowed the house to be attacked, allowed the mother to get beat up because they don't want her to be a witness. So then they cancel the cases. The girls are too scared. So they purposely do that. So then there's no court cases. Now, I went to that town, Telford, and I went there specifically. I spent 12 to 18 months. I got to know these girls. I knew them inside out. I interviewed them for 3 hours, 4 hours.
And let's play the video of you confronting the accused. This is 102.
Before they'd even pull up, the passenger seat car would be back, all the way back. So they'd say to you, jump in and lie down. Because I remember the one day going past my mum.
What, you're laying down in the
I'm lying down there saying to me, keep down because your mum's there. Keep down. And my mum's there, yeah. I was in a black Jeep.
How old were you at the time then?
I didn't have Josh, so 13.
When it says Josh, that's her son. She had him at 14.
There was a one man in the car, yeah.
Who's that?
Wadge.
Wadge?
Yeah.
Did he rape you that night?
Yep.
Hi there.
You accused in front of
Come to do the boiler service.
Yeah,
Are you aware of it?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. So what's your name?
It's Wadge.
Wadge. Okay.
W-A-J, Wadge. Haybridge Gas. Can I just take a quick look at any of the gas appliances?
Yeah, actually, I wanted you. Oh, sorry, let me just shut that.
How are you? I bet you didn't think you'd be seeing me here, did you? I've got some questions to ask you about allegations of child rape. You raped a 12-year-old girl, you took her virginity in a house next door to a mosque in Telford. What do you have to say about that, get your face? What do you have to say about that, Wedge? What do you have to say? You took her to the Wrekin and you raped her. What do you have to say? Why do I have multiple girls?
Pause.
Why are there multiple girls?
Pause. They always film you. That's weird. I don't understand
They
that.
blew my car up.
They what?
These gang, they blew my car up. They on the next documentary you hear them. They petrol bomb my car. They ring up. They done a video of a gun. They ring up and
They're taking a video of you so they can ID you to blow your car up.
Yeah, they petrol bomb my car. They targeted my mum's house. They rang me up threatening to rape my daughters. Giving me.
Where is he? Is he in prison?
No, none of them got done. No.
So you're in prison and they're not.
Well, the figures of this town. So by the time I spent time doing my police style investigation. Now the police investigation in this town identified 200 men that had been raping. Yeah, in Telford. Telford has a 1.7% Muslim population. So 1,000 victims were identified by the police. 5 are dead. They burned little girl alive. Burned the family. They killed. They're murderers as well. Yeah. This is a small town that has a 1.7% Muslim population. So that's why I focused on this town because I thought I'll find out everything. I'll know every one of them. By the end of this investigation, I knew every one of their names. I knew where they worked. I knew where they lived. We put trackers on their cars. We followed them. We tailed them. We went in their businesses. We were buying food off them without them knowing. And then we confront them. But you know when I confront these men? I only confront them when they're named by 3 or more girls that don't know each other. So in our investigation, we built a database. So the police get 200 men. I got a database of 264. And then a solicitor's inquiry got over 300 men's names. There's only 1,000 Muslim men in that town. So 20 to 30% of the men were raping kids. So out of the police investigation that identified 200 men, they prosecuted 11. What about the rest? You know, in our first episode, a girl called Nicole. Now, when I was in jail, this most recent time, I obviously played my film. The 27th of July, my demonstration comes. We've got 100,000 in Trafalgar Square. And do you know what I thought? I sat my kids down, I sat my family down and said, it's been eating me up for too long. That film I've got, I need to show the world it. This is my opportunity. We've got 100,000 people in that crowd and 1 million people are watching live. So I went on stage and said, you know the film? I've got an injunction, I've got court order. They'll lock me up for this, press play. And then I played the film. And I pinned the film at the top of my Twitter. But I'd done that because 2 weeks before that demonstration, there was 2 places where the film had been leaked. I didn't put it out, but both the places it was got deleted. So they deleted off YouTube, deleted off another account. So I rang my solicitor, I said, they're coming for me. They're going to lock me up. But if they lock me up, people ain't going to see the film. It's gone. It's not on the internet. But I had X. So I released it on that day, on that demonstration, and I pinned it. And I put it on. And then I got locked up. I got 18 months. When I went before the judge said, you will not have this prison sentence. Remove the film. I said, I'm not removing the film. And do you know what? They thought they're putting me on trial. I put them on trial for the world to see. They locked me up. First week of January, I ring home in jail. I'm sat there. I'm set October 26th. I got sent to jail. So I've been in October since October 26th, sat in solitary confinement. I ring home and my son, who's out there now, he's like, Dad. I was like, what's going on? He said, Elon Musk has pinned the film. The film's pinned.
I remember that.
Now, for me, this was a massive risk.
Huge.
It was a massive risk because no one might not have watched the film, yeah? They might have been a success in getting it removed from X. But at this moment in time, I'm like, mission accomplished, man. I'm floating around my cell. And then at that same time, Elon Musk shared my first episode, The Rape of Britain. Now that tells a story of a girl called Nicole, who I'm still very close with, a wonderful girl, yeah, who's lived through rape, torture, everything. And she survived. She's a fighter, yeah? She's a fighter. She got 5 kids now. She's a fighter. So at that moment, for me, I'm sitting there, this week, The Rape of Britain, the grooming gangs, Elon Musk used the phrase Rape of Britain, we've succeeded, yeah? The journalism has hit world stage. Because when I made these films, I was censored. So they didn't get the recognition or the views they should have got. So in this week, I'm so happy at this time. But in that first case, Nicole's story, she's impregnated at 13 years old. Now, they get the DNA match from the fetus to the baby. They get 100% DNA match. We show it on the documentary. We find out who the Muslim man who raped her is. He doesn't get prosecuted. But in our documentary, we find out the top police officer's working with the gang. We confront him in the documentary. But then what my focus was to do these documentaries in every town and city, but I wasn't expecting 26 firebombings. They blew all the girls' houses up. When we started doing this film, because they didn't know who I was speaking to, I started releasing little trailers, and I hadn't thought it through, because what the Muslim community done is they just went for anyone they'd raped. So they started blowing up mums' cars, attacking girls, turning up with baseball bats, smashing houses to pieces. You see it all on the documentary. The second documentary we show, the whole town's on fire. No one gets arrested, no one gets prosecuted.
But it seems like the winds are changing. I think you said it earlier. The people are waking up. That things are different now than they were 5 years ago.
The dams burst.
The dams burst.
You're from Ireland. You said about being Irish, yeah?
Grandparents.
So
Yeah.
I went to Ireland. But the immigration crisis, see, my mum's Irish. Don't mess with an Irish mum. Don't mess with her kids, yeah? They're fierce, okay? There's something in the blood in Ireland, yeah?
And something in the Irish blood, the warrior spirit.
So when I saw the migration crisis there, Britain, I can only describe it, the rest of Europe, Western Europe, has had, it's like drip, 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 drip. This problem has been dripped in over 40 years. Well, Ireland's never had immigration. The Irish leave to find work, but all of a sudden they're flooding Ireland. So I go to Ireland and think, and I see the mums coming out and protesting. So I think, right, I'm going to go make a documentary. And I made a documentary called Plantation 2, Rise of the Celts. And I went and wore a hidden camera, again, and I approached women in Killarney, in some of the most beautiful cities in Ireland, where all the migrants are now in the hotels. And I go up to women and I say, what's happened here? How do you feel? And the women are like, we can't walk the streets. We're getting attacked, sexually assaulted. And one woman says, I live there and I work there. And my husband has to come down every night to walk me down this road because I can't walk down the road. So when they say this, I say, right, I'm a journalist from the UK. Come over here, and I shout at my cameraman. And all the women go, I can't say that on camera. All of them. And I prove this, yeah? So they can't say it on camera. They're scared. I say, why not? They said, we can't, we'll lose our jobs. People are calling us racist. So I prove that this is how Irish women feel. Of course, when the mainstream media walk through the town, they're too scared to speak. This is self-censorship. You don't need a law that takes away free speech. Even in America, I've done a walk around Washington, D.C., asking about the trans flag and asking about the BLM sign, and Americans are self-censoring. They all said, well, they're too dangerous to comment on that. I thought I was in America, land of the free. So you're self-censoring your views because you're worried about a consequence. That's not free speech. So, but the difference is that what I proved in the Irish documentary 2 years ago, those same women that were scared, they're not scared now. The dam has burst.
The dam has burst, so people are not as afraid as they used to be.
People are talking, women are organising themselves. It used to be me that had to organise a demonstration. Now demonstrations are being organised in close-knit communities outside hotels across the UK.
Do you get a sense, you've only been here for 5 days or whatever it is, that the fear is worse in America than in Great Britain?
I couldn't believe, look.
What do you think?
I've been commented about Washington, D.C. You're in Washington. There's fear. They're scared to speak. So
who's they? The people?
The people I was talking to.
Well, the district, you talking to politicians?
I was talking to average people on the street, asking them their opinion of the trans flag on every lamppost.
In Virginia and DC?
In DC.
Oh.
And then there's a Black Lives Matter and Black Trans Lives Matter huge on some building.
Because DC's mostly Democratic.
I understand,
voters.
but what you can see from the video is they have an opinion, but they're too scared to say it. So all of them.
Yeah.
And
do you think that the problem is more true in the United States or more true in Great Britain?
Well, I never expected to find that in the United States, the self-censorship. I never expected to find that. But what you've got in the United States now, and I envied the United States for years as I watched, is it was me and just me talking about these issues in 2009, 2010, 2011. I looked at Pamela Giller, I looked at Robert Spencer, I looked at Frank Gaffney, I looked at Daniel Pipes. And you in America had influential people. Now, because of my background and the class system in the UK, it was easy to dismiss us. It was easy. Thugs, criminals, hooligans. It was easy because of the way I walk, because of the way I talk, because of the school I went to, because of my upbringing. It was easy. But in America, you don't have that class system.
No, we don't have that here.
And you have influential commentators, and it's a lot more now, and there's a lot in the UK now. It's not a lonely place anymore, yeah? But when I used to look to America, you have just had your congressmen, 42 of them. I met Keith Self, and I interviewed him, yeah? I met Randy Fine, and I interviewed him. So you've had 42 congressmen, and do you know, since the time of Churchill and Gladstone, now Gladstone held the Quran above his head in Parliament and said, there'll never be peace on this earth so long as we have this book. It's a violent and cursed book. Now, since their days, we've had soldiers beheaded, bombings killing 26 children, people massacred, stabbed to death, terrorist attack after terrorist attack. Not one single politician at 650 in the House of Parliament has discussed or mentioned Islam or Sharia and having a discussion. Not one. In all these terrorist attacks, after every terrorist attack, we're told Islam is a religion of peace. Now, you, in America, you can stop this, yeah? And you have to support any brave people that stand up and speak about it. So I went and met Keith Self to interview him. I met Randy Fine, and I realised that you've got 42 members of Congress that have come together for an anti-Sharia caucus within Congress. The Republican Party, if you're a supporter of the Republican Party, get onto your congressman and ask them why they've not joined that caucus. Because this here will be, I don't think you understand, what's happened to Europe happened like that. My town's gone like that. You need to get ready. You need to be ready for this because you will be replaced. And you see the black community, we talk about plantations and slavery. The Democrats have clipped you on the plantations. They've wanted you there. They want you broken. They want you in criminality. They don't want you having dads. Black people, 1960s, 80% of them in America had dads. Now it's 20%. That's not a mistake. That's the real racism. That's the racism. And that's governed by the Democrat Party. They've targeted you because they want you as loyal voters. They don't want you aspiring to be better because then you'll become Republicans.
Did you interact with Congresswoman from Minnesota, Ilhan Omar?
I haven't. I know who she is. She should be deported. It's insane.
That'd be a good one. But the deportations, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but the deportations, what strikes me is that in Minnesota, the ICE came, they tried to hold people accountable, and there was, and someone gets shot. Because that's going to happen. If you resist arrest, someone's going to get shot by the law enforcement.
47 people died through ICE under Barack Obama's leadership.
Right. Well, I agree. So, but then the people who get shot become a cause celeb. They become a celebrity. Then Trump backed down, and they brought ICE out of Minnesota, which some people are critical of that.
If ICE are not successful, you lose. Trust me. Do you know Angela Merkel? She opened up the borders of Germany 2015. So the rape statistics from 17 to 22 show that rapes went up 45%. Last year, 11% of the rapes in Germany were by Syrian nationals. She let in 1 million. Joe Biden let in 10 million. Yeah. So think about this, because it's coming. Get ready for it. It's coming. In Paris, 77% of the rapes were by foreign nationals, Muslims. In Sweden, 63% of the rapes were by Muslims. They only make up 10% of the population. In Germany, 54% or 58% of the gang rapes were by Muslims. They're a small community there. You know, in the UK, Muslim men make up 3% of the British population. They're responsible for 90% of the convictions of gang rape, and 30% of the men convicted were called Mohammed. Now, these numbers, they're coming. They're coming. They're here.
So you think it's going to get worse in the United States?
Yeah, you've seen the trailer for a movie. The movie's not started. Now, you have a chance. If ICE aren't successful, look at the immigration rates.
Well, ICE backed out of Minnesota because 2 people were killed. My thinking is that people are going to get killed.
Of course.
If
it's either 2 people are killed, or you get to the point that we're in Europe.
Let's say you try to deport 10,000 people, 100,000 people, whatever the number is. And maybe those people deserve to be deported. 1% are going to resist arrest. And when they resist arrest, law enforcement has to shoot back if they're being violent. So it's going to end up in a violent situation. It may not be able to be avoided, right?
Do you know Somalians?
Somalians in particular, yeah.
Somalians come from one of the hottest places in the world. Yeah, Somalia.
Yeah.
Right? Why are they in Minnesota? Do you think they chose Minnesota? Do you think
it's a good question.
What? The coldest place.
What do you think the answer is?
They've been put there because they know the Democrats brought them there because they know they need them there. They know how much their community. Look where they are being put. If you look at the swing states in the United States, the immigration to the swing states went up nearly 700%. They are replacing you. You will never have a swing state.
So Minnesota is also a half Scandinavian country, Swedish, Norwegian. When I was in Sweden, the Swedes told me that it's something to do with the niceness. Just leave them be. But why did they put them in Minnesota as opposed to any other place?
For the votes, for the Democrat. Because you have to understand, on average, I think in the UK, I think the figure's 3.8. People used to say 5.6. That's how many children Muslims have. In France, it's upwards of 7%, 7 children. Now, it doesn't take long because we're having 1.2 and 1.4. So I'll bring this back to my hometown of Luton so you can understand how the Democrat Party will be viewing this. In 2013, I went on my government's website and I looked at my hometown of Luton and I looked at the projected growth forecast for the communities by 2030. So that's a 17-year period. The Pakistani and Bangladeshi community were going to increase by 70 to 77%. The white and black by 1.2 to 1.4%. So if you're the local Labour Party, what's the future? It's the Muslim community. Why are you going to listen to... we have a leader of the Council of Mosques. So we have 45 mosques. And they come together. And we've seen this. I've seen some undercover footage coming out of New York. So you have to understand the Islamic community, not like the black community, not like the Christian community, not like the white community. They organise themselves in a military fashion. Whoever the imam tells them to vote
Pretty
for...
remarkable.
They vote.
Pretty remarkable.
Yeah, it's impressive.
The other thing I've learned about Somalis is you can't trust them. Like in this way. Like I do undercover work and I try to recruit the Somalis. But the problem is that they could be a double agent against me for $100. Like they'll betray you for $100.
Well, corruption is rife in Islamic communities, like we call it Pakistani politics, that's been imported into the UK.
There's not a lot of honor. It doesn't seem like there's character and honor, culturally speaking. I'm sure there are exceptions, but it's tough.
It's a lawless country that's failed as a state. Immigration is meant to benefit your country, your nation. What has Somali immigration, when we know that upwards of 80% of them are on benefits and remain on benefits? We know now, you know from America, you can look at the studies coming out of Holland, Denmark, all of these European countries, and you can see that it doesn't benefit. I think each immigrant costs in their life £650,000 minus £650,000 against the state.
I mean, America has this whole concept of e pluribus unum, out of many one, that we're supposed to be equal before the law. That's a unique concept. We have a bicameral legislature, a Senate, and a House of Representatives. We have separation of powers. So the idea is that, I guess in theory, that all these different cultures should coexist because they assimilate to these values. But it seems like they don't believe in these values.
They've never coexisted.
They can't coexist.
45 countries have turned to civil conflict. Just look at, there's 1,400 years of history. Islam has never peacefully coexisted.
It can't assimilate into the American culture
It's impossible.
unless they change their values.
They can't. They won't.
Well,
The Quran is
they
word
could
of God.
become a Christian.
They could leave, and
theoretically.
but if they leave, then it's punishable by death. So then they'll live as an apostate. Their family, even their own family, will want to kill them. They're important values. So say Afghanistan. Yeah, Pew Research shows that in Afghanistan, 99% of Afghanis want Sharia law. When you bring in 100,000 of them to whichever town and city, which Joe Biden was doing in their hundreds of thousands, when they import them in, do you think they leave that value and that belief at the border? Oh, we're in America now, we believe in democracy.
Yeah.
No, they believe in Sharia. So you're going to have Sharia courts. We've got 100 operating in our country. You're lucky because you've got 42 brave congressmen at the minute who are forming to already start.
You've spoken to them.
I've spoken to them, yeah.
How that went well?
Very well. I interviewed them, and I interviewed them in the hope that the courage that they have will be infectious to give courage to British politicians. The purpose of us taking to the streets in our millions was to inspire Europe, to inspire Europeans. For too long, they want you isolated. Do you know the pub? The pub is the beating heart of British culture. Yeah. When we started our organisation in 2009, we built it from the pubs. The pubs are all gone. They're making it impossible to have a pub.
Pubs are gone?
They're all closing in
Really?
the UK. Yeah. Look it up. Go down that
We
rabbit
have some
hole.
pubs here in Florida, actually.
Oh, they're closing. The pub used to be, so the pub is the heartbeat of the community. It's where men get together and what do we discuss? Policy failures, government failures. Where will a rebellion grow? It'll grow from the community's heart in those pubs. If you get rid of the community centres and the pubs, which they're doing, there's another 2,000 closing this year. If you break that, then where are the men going to gather? And they want you to feel isolated. They want you to feel alone. They don't want the community. They want to break the community. And they've been successful.
I want to show this latest YouTube video where he hit the streets of Paris's African district. When was this? Was
This about 3-4 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I can't even... Chateau d'Eau. I can't pronounce that. I don't speak French. And what you find is very suspicious. Let's go to this clip 110. Street after street packed with nothing but hair shops. Let's take a look at this in Paris.
Hair shop, 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 hair shop. We're in central Paris. Comical, we're in the African district. Now, in the UK, they launder money, through Turkish barbers and chicken shops. I think Luton per square mile has more chicken shops than anywhere else in the country. Say Luton, if you go to a Muslim area at 9 in the morning, there's no Muslims. They're all in bed. I'm not even joking. They have a totally different economy. It's the same here. We're here very early. Look.
What time are you
What's
there?
the matter? 9 in the morning.
9 in the morning.
What? What are you talking about? What's he saying?
They speak in English or French?
No, you don't speak French. I'm
Don't
filming
speak
me.
in
Go, you go
Islamic
away.
language.
I'm filming me. I'm filming me. I'm filming me. I'm filming me. I'm not filming you. Is he? So, is he French?
Il lui a dit oui, il est
In Europe, I'll film what I want. Kiss your teeth at me. Kiss your teeth at.
I don't know if they're going to understand you. Yeah, this is
We get
like...
attacked later. In the next video, we get attacked.
We get attacked. Do we have that clip of them being attacked? We could
Where
throw
they
it
come,
in.
they come
This
at
is
the car.
pre-recorded here, so
They
we'll throw it
were
in.
following the girl and threatening to rape her.
We'll make sure we... And I was at... What's the name of the street in London? Is it Whitechapel?
Whitechapel.
Whitechapel. I went there. I went there
The
last
signs
year.
at Whitechapel train station are now in Urdu.
Tim Pool was there, and I noticed I was being followed and tracked and whatnot. But Tommy, I want to have you back because I mean we could talk for 5 hours, and I don't know exactly where to go into depth with you. But I think the thing that I have most in common with you is that we've both been arrested and detained multiple times. I was raided by the FBI myself and arrested by the FBI. I haven't been through what you've been through. I haven't been in solitary. I've been on house arrest. But I guess my question for you is, what is the greatest price you've had to pay of all the things that you've been through? The greatest cost to you?
Family.
Family. Is that your child, your ex-wife, your current wife, all of it?
They sent people to my home. So my ex-wife had to make a decision. It was probably the 8th time we've moved as a family and had to live in different homes. And it was the safety of our kids or our marriage. So she made the right decision.
And the decision was?
Divorce.
Divorce. And that was the biggest price you had to pay. And you are remarried?
No.
You're not remarried?
No.
You're currently single, alone?
Currently single. Mate, I have been hiding. I can't live in a house because wherever I live, there's a danger to the property. So when I go back, I've been out of prison since May. I live in Airbnbs and I live in hotels, which may sound good, but it's not.
When did you get divorced?
I got divorced in 21 after the court case. So the film Silent shows that there's so much deep here. So what they've done is, and it's crazy, listen to what they've done is, so the police come to my house at Christmas when I'm with my wife, and they said that Antifa, again, they give me another threat to my life, Antifa have armed themselves with firearms, they're from Scotland, and they want to target you and the family and kill you, yeah? So I put the video online. Now the first two people to comment on that video is a Muslim lawyer called Mohammed Kanji and a journalist for the Independent newspaper. So they comment on the video. 6 weeks after this, that Muslim lawyer hires an Antifa extremist to deliver legal papers for my film when they sued me. He sits down with an Antifa extremist and says, here's papers, here's Tommy Robinson's family home address, which no one knew. We want you to live stream it and go and deliver these papers to his family, to his family home. I'm out of the country. So my wife and kids are at home, Antifa turn up at the home, the police are called, I come home and my wife presses the panic button, police all come to the house, my kids are panicked. The man makes a video saying he's going to murder my children.
Jeez.
But they planned it with Antifa.
But I mean, I guess I hear all that, but I think you said something very powerful, and I apologize for getting personal. That's not my intent.
That's right.
But I have paid a price, not to the degree you have, but I think people need to hear this. That you lost, this affected your family. You got divorced. I don't want you to get too detailed, but I mean, do you think that there's someone out there? Do you want to get remarried? Do you want to have a new family? Or do you think you're going to be alone?
I find it incredibly hard to trust anyone.
And that takes time.
Yeah, in the sense that I've been betrayed. Everyone around me, they contact, they offer money, they want stories, they try and set me up. So I live my life, as I said,
you have your son is here. Your son is outside, and how has he handled all this?
He's had to have a tough. He left school at 13 because he was getting such a hard time.
Well, he's got to be strong.
That's what I said. I said these experiences will
change him.
Chisel your character.
And how old is he now?
He's 16.
16. He's a big guy for 16.
Yeah, he's a big lad. And I taught him the same. And do you know what? I'm happy because I taught him fitness fighting from the age of 10. He didn't want to go there at first, and I took him to a boxing gym. I said, you need to hold your hands up. You need to be able to. You need to be physically fit as a man. He's a great kid, man. A great kid.
I think that's the truth, though. It's the personal. And General Flynn said the same exact thing. It's the personal
I interviewed
cost.
General Flynn for 2 hours about his life, and I
go.
heard it. And you know, he gave everything as a family for this nation, and the nation turned on him.
Yes.
And that's what I felt like. I love my country, and it hates me back. But
I guess you got to find a right partner. If you were going back to the drawing, like I'm single, I'm 41. You have to find the right person or they have to share your value. They have to be like willing to go to jail.
Yeah, I'll ruin their life.
Well, but you didn't know. I mean, I don't know.
But actually, I think we've turned a corner.
But you said they made the right decision in divorcing.
Yeah, she did, in the sense of having protection from
the evils.
But I'm optimistic. Look, if you listen to me, it's pretty depressing. Something huge has happened. A Christian revival has happening in the UK outside of the church. The church is the establishment, just like the media. Something huge is happening.
I hear that. It's good news. It's on the mend.
It's on the mend, which wouldn't be happening, I don't believe, if you hadn't elected Donald Trump. If you didn't have, when we see Rubio and we see Vance and we see these politicians speaking up, we know, wow, well, we've got friends here, yeah? They believe in the values that we're fighting for.
Yeah, this is a subject for another interview, but I think that the just to give you some of my knowledge and what I'm witnessing as an investigative journalist, I think the frustration from a lot of the Trump voters right now is someone needs to be arrested. People need to be held accountable.
I keep thinking, when are they going to?
Well,
Ilhan Omar needs to be deported.
And you saw the tapes that I have.
Yeah.
That the DOJ has. Someone has to be deported. Someone has to be arrested. Because what's the point? That's the concern. And the Democrats might win the midterms, and then now they're trying to impeach Trump again. So my advice is, and I think
the Democrats get back in, so many of the people who stood against them are going to jail.
But I think they have to arrest somebody. They have to do something. That's the frustration I'm feeling, and I don't know if it's corruption, if there's bribery. I mean, one more question for you: has anyone ever tried to bribe you? Has the establishment tried to co-opt you?
I write about it in my book, Enemy of State. So I left the English Defence League 2014-15, stepped down as leader, said, listen, I was constantly battling far-right elements within my own party who kept trying to move the party to different agendas. And I was constantly kicking them out.
We have the book. Let's put the book on the screen. And when did you write this?
That was 2015, and I've done an update, a next book, which brought it up to 2021, called Silenced. I've wrote 4 books. All 4 went to best-selling books. They banned 2 of them off of Amazon. You can buy Mein Kampf, Hitler's book, in 14 languages. You can't buy my books.
I'm sorry. I'm jealous. Yeah. I'm jealous that your book was banned.
Yeah, they banned 2 of them. They banned 2 of them.
Who, the country
Amazon.
of
Amazon.
Just Amazon.com globally, so I can't buy your book on Amazon?
No, TR Book, you can buy that one, but 2 of them, trbooks.co.uk.
I'm not laughing at you.
No.
I'm laughing with you.
They're burning books.
It's unbelievable. Books. And Mein Kampf is available.
In 14 languages. Tommy Robinson's wait, Hitler's got nothing on me.
I'm not an envious man, but I'm jealous that you're that hated. That is a badge of honor.
Yeah.
But you said you wrote about in your book. I interrupted you.
I wrote about my book. So I was in prison, and I was in prison. I was in Winchester Prison 2015. I'd just come out of Woodhill. So when I was in Woodhill, a prison officer opens my door. He says, "When they come to get you, do not leave this cell." I went, "What?" He says, "Your life depends on it, son. Don't leave the cell." So okay, and he was a former paratrooper. So about an hour later, my door opens. He's there with 2 other officers. He said, "You're going on A-wing." I said, "I ain't going anywhere." He said, "If you're refusing to go, because if you're refusing to go, you're going to get put in punishment, and that means you're going to be put down isolation." I said, "I'm not going anywhere." So then they isolate me, putting down the block. He comes see me later. Now, 6 Muslims got 30 years. I got put in for a paper mortgage fraud, which was, again, I got blackmailed into pleading guilty for. We can get on that. That's a whole nother story. But I'm in there on a paper offence, a low category offence. I got put in a maximum security jail that has a 40% Muslim population, category A, killers, murderers, terrorists. Now, on A-wing, where they were taking me, was 6 Muslims who had just got 30 years for planning to kill me. They were taking me on their wing. So he said to me afterwards, someone would have got done for corporal manslaughter, but you'd be dead. The next day I have a legal meeting, that's when I get battered in the room and lose my teeth. So I lose my teeth. I get transferred then to Winchester Prison. I was really low. I felt like I was alone, because I felt like although I had a movement, my family are on their own when I'm in jail. I'm on my own. I'm getting terrorised here. So I went into... I got called to a legal meeting, sit down with the lawyers. I thought I was going to see lawyers, and 2 young men are there who are younger than me, and they said, "No one knows we're here seeing you." I said, "Okay, who are you?" They said, "We're from the MIB, the Metropolitan Intelligence Bureau. We're a secret organisation within Scotland Yard. The only one person knows we're in here is the main governor."
Yeah.
So when you go back to... And I said, "What do you want?" And they said, "What's your plans?" I said, "What do you mean, what's my plans?" They said, "When you leave jail, what's your plans?" I said, "You know what? I've had enough. I'm tired, man. You won't hear me talking about anything to do with Islam again." And that's how I felt at that moment in time. They said, "Right, we want you to work with us." I said, "What's work with you involve?" Yeah. They said, "We want you to unite the right. We want you to be the focal head for them." Yeah.
Unite the what?
The right. So the extreme groups in the UK.
Oh, I see.
They said, "You've got the respect of the people." I said, "You want me to work for you?
Unite the right.
You've worked for 5 years to smash me." It's like A doesn't know what B's doing.
They're trying to flip you.
They want to recruit me, yeah.
But what were they willing to give you?
They wanted to control. So I said, "I don't want to listen, lads." They said, "I don't want to listen to any of this."
But what were they willing to give you?
I didn't even get. So I'll tell you what.
You didn't even get that
I said,
far.
I'm no one's bitch.
I'd be curious.
But no, I'll tell you what they do. I said, "I'm no one's bitch, right? It's not going to work, boys, yeah? I don't want to work for you. I'm coming out of here and getting on with my life." They said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Well, I've got 7 properties. You know that. I'm going to sell them all, and I'm going to buy a plot of land. I'm going to get back into building. I've got my plans. I've got my vision, yeah? I'm earning money again, my passion, which was before the EDL, before all this madness." So I said, "I'm getting back into that." And they said, "Well, look, the offer's there. You'll be doing your country a service. We've listened to what you say. Do you want to work for your country? Do you want to help your country? Do this." I leave. I say, tell them, "I'll see you later, lads. I'm no one's bitch. I'm not a grass. I don't believe in this shit." I leave jail. I'm driving on the motorway, and I've done recordings of this, yeah? You can listen to the tape recordings. So I'm driving on the motorway.
Were you recording of the MIB?
No, not of that. So I'm driving in the motorway. When I get out of jail, police cars come from everywhere, and they stop my car. I get arrested for a burglary of a house, yeah? there's many things people make accusations against me. Everyone knows I'm not a house burglar. So I get arrested for a house burglary, and I'm thinking, what the hell is this about? I get interviewed, I say, I haven't left the motorway, lads. Yeah, and I'm thinking, what's this about? But when you leave jail, you're on a 9-month licence. So you have licence conditions where if you get charged with anything, you go straight back for 9 months. Prison for me is death or life or death. I'm lucky to have survived the previous sentences, yeah? So then I walk in my house, I get let out after 24 hours. I walk in my house and my ex-wife, who was my wife at the time, says, Winchester Prison have been on the phone. I said, Winchester Prison? She said, you've left property there. She gives me a phone number that's 0207. That's London. I said, that's not Winchester Prison. So I ring him up. It's Ollie from MIB. We met in jail. It's him from MIB. I said, oh yeah, you're in a bit of a predicament here, Tommy. I said, what predicament am I in? They said, well, imagine this goes in the media.
And now you're taping this. Yeah.
No, now imagine it goes in the media.
Yeah.
I cried my eyes out. I got off the phone. I said to my, imagine it goes in the media, you've been arrested for burglary. It's not going to do very well, is it?
Yeah.
And they said, and if you get charged when you re-answer bail, if you get charged, you're going to do 9 months on licence recall. I got off the phone and cried my eyes out. I said, what am I meant to do? And I said, I'm not going to be a slave for them. Yeah? It's just not going to happen. I refused. I tell them to piss off. When I went to jail, I pled guilty to a mortgage fraud, yeah? I'd done an agreement and a deal. If you leave my wife alone, drop the charges against her for tax, drop my other family members, drop it all, I'll take the hit, I'll plead guilty, yeah? But I'll plead guilty under the agreement that there was no financial benefit to me, yeah, for what you're saying I meant to have done, yeah? So I pled guilty, and that meant that they couldn't touch the properties or the money, yeah? So I pled guilty, I walked out of jail, then they sent a letter to my solicitor. My solicitor says, they're hitting you for 125 grand. I said, how can they do that? I pled guilty under an agreement that there was no proceeds of crime. She said, the wording on the agreement says at this time there's no proceeds of crime. But I said I wouldn't have pled guilty, would I? I'd done a deal. I wouldn't have pled guilty because they had no evidence on me. I'd done an agreement, yeah? So they took me to court. I had to give them 100, I had to sell my house. And I had to pay, and then when I get to court, they ring up again, you'll never have to pay this money to me. I'm being blackmailed by the state. And do you know what I realised? And this is where you need to look at things. Yeah. Every single Muslim terrorist that has been done terrorism, Lee Rigby's killer, they're all in contact with MI5. All of them. So I think if they're doing this to me, and they're getting me in a position. So I looked at a lot of the radicals differently because I thought, you're working for them, mate. Because what we had a group called Al Mujahideen and Muslims Against Crusades, and what they done is act as a honeypot, and they brought in every radical jihadist under one umbrella, and they operated together. They're all in jail now, every one of them. 60% of the Muslims in jail for terrorism are ex-members of this group. So I think MI5 are in control of this group. Look at the conflict with the Irish Republican Army, the IRA. I think out of the top 10 in the IRA, 8 of them were British, were working for the Brits. So this is, and look at our politics, and look at our geopolitics, and look at the involvement. We have given refuge to terrorist organisations. Muslim Brotherhood head offices, they're in our country, yeah? Hizb Tahrir. When the war was going on against the Soviets in Afghanistan, we wanted the radicalised jihadists. We supported ISIS, and we funded them in Syria. So Obama was supporting them, training them. We've done it all. So for these benefits of the nation. But now the problem's here. It's in our country.
But I hear you tell that story, and it sounds to me like they want to control you, and they cannot. Yeah. As far as I know, you've never taken a bribe. You've never. Do you want
me to give you the scariest story of ever?
Well, briefly, because we're running out of time. Briefly.
Google
30-second
Tommy Robinson Afsalamin, a Conservative who had been offered a seat on the cabinet of our government, who was a Muslim, approaches me, offers me money. Comes with offers me money. So I arrange a second meeting with him, and I covertly record him. Read the story. It was breaking news. When you watch that, you don't know it's my story because I signed an NDA that no one would know it was me that gave the recordings over. But he offers me money. He brings 2 Muslim gangsters with him, and they say that they just want their man in Parliament, which is him. He's been offered a seat on our cabinet. He was a captain in the British military. He trained Prince Harry. He went to Sandhurst. And when I exposed this and I gave the story, I recorded him. And then when he rings me, I'm sat in the Daily Mail offices, and he rings me up, and I'm on loudspeaker. He says, Tommy, I've just had a phone call from the Daily Mail. I said, oh yeah? He goes, what's going on? I said, some things ain't for sale, mate. Yeah, you think you can buy your way through our nation? Yeah, and as I've done this, the Daily Mail then done an investigation into the man that trained Prince Harry, was a captain in the British Army for 10 years. He was the perfect representation for the Muslim community. He spoke the Queen's English better than the Queen. Google him, look this story up. Now, when they've done this, and they looked at him, they found that he was part of a radical extremist organisation 3 years before he joined Sandhurst. He was a plant in the British government, he was a plant in the military, and he had got all the way to having a cabinet seat in our government. How had he got there? He was working. Do you know what he tells me in the covert recordings? Qatar are funding everything.
Where can people find that recording?
I've got the old footage, but I signed an NDA. So Google the story, you'll see it in the Daily Mail. You'll be able to read and see the recordings.
In the Daily Mail?
The Daily Mail, they're online.
What should they Google?
Tommy Robinson, Afzal Amin.
Well, we'll put it in. We'll put it in this
But
interview.
what I've got all the recordings of how we've done that story, but I've never been able to share them because I signed an NDA. But I'm going to break that NDA. The Daily Mail can piss off.
Let's break the NDA.
Yeah.
Okay, when I listen to you talk, I mean, I'm not as in the Islamic issue as you. I've investigated some, but I'm not even looking at this through the lens of politics. I look at you. This is my reaction meeting you. I think this is our first time meeting face to face. I look at you through the lens of core values. I look at you and I admire you, and I'm not saying that through the prism of politics, because you've accomplished so much. But I see, fearlessness. You don't fatigue. You are resilient as fuck. Resilience is very important, because if you get hit, you got to get back up. You do that. You always try to do what you believe to be the right thing. And granted, some people have different perceptions of right and wrong, but you always do the right thing. You are relentless, unstoppable, and unbreakable. I feel like the two things with you, it's the fear. You said you have experienced fear. It's not that you're fearless.
I think
you've experienced fear.
I think courage is being scared but still doing the right thing.
Right. And unbreakable. And I think that the greatest threat against you and I is they're going to break us. Because we're only human, right? You're not a saint.
That's what they're trying to do. Yeah.
You're a human being. Human beings are not meant to be in solitary confinement. People kill themselves. People lose their minds. So I think the greatest threat, and I'm just speaking freely here and being vulnerable in front of my audience because it's true, this is what you fear. This is what you're scared of. So let's just go there, shall we? I mean, it's the idea that they're going to break your will, or they're going to try to, as the pendulum swings back and forth. And the line that separates this optimism from the collapse is thin. So to me, it seems like they're going to try to make your life a living how they already have, but they can't break you.
But on values, I lost my values. I didn't have values. I had values to fight, but I lost my values, as has many in Britain. We've lost our values. When I started getting my head into the Bible and into Christianity and this swing that was happening, and I looked at being a good man, and I found that being a good man is just being a Christian. And I used to lie. I used to be deceitful, even with my wife. I wasn't a perfect man. And my values, and I remember sitting down once, and I looked at all my friends, and I looked at everyone and thought, we've lost our values, man. We've lost what it means.
Do you get power from Jesus now?
Now, I feel the power. I felt the power.
Spiritually?
Spiritually, I felt something. I went to Israel, and I went there, and there was a bunch of Christians from America. Watched the video, yeah? And they come up to me, and I was standing there. They didn't know who I was. And they all said, can we pray for you? Mm-hmm. And there's a video of it. And they all put their hands on me. And I felt, for the first time, I've always wanted to feel something. And do you know the words they said? It told my story. We pray that you go back and through your tongue and through your mouth, you wake up your nation. Yeah? I'm standing there like, what the hell is going on? And I felt, whether the Holy Spirit, I felt something. And I've watched something and felt it at our demonstrations. Something's happening. But that doesn't mean, and I've always felt ashamed of calling myself a Christian because I know I'm not living a moral life. And I've felt embarrassed by some of my actions. And I sat down with an identitarian group, a gentleman called Martin Sellner. And he talked to me about never drink, never take drugs, train, fitness, loyalty to family, to this. And as he was saying it, I felt embarrassed because I thought, I've lost.
Yeah, but you're a little tough on yourself, if I may, because while you may not have lived a moral life, you have the courage as the virtue that sustains all of the virtues. So you say you don't have values, but fearless, indefatigable, resilient, don't quit, relentless, unstoppable, and unbreakable are values that many Christians don't have. So Christians may not drink, they may not have sex till marriage, they may be faithful to their wife, but these things that you have inside of yourself, that came even before you became a Christian.
From Mum.
That comes from your. That comes from mother.
If you met Mum, you'd know.
I'd love to meet your mom. I'd love to meet your mom, and I guess we're out of time. I mean, maybe tell the audience, and I'd love to talk to you more. Tell the audience how they can follow you, how they can support you, and what you're working on right now.
I'm on X, thanks to Elon Musk, my rebirth. Do you know, every time I've been knocked down, something picks me up. Something literally, and that's where I think, no, I'm destined to be doing this. If I wanted to stop this, I can't. This isn't a choice now. I think I'm meant to be doing this.
You're called to do it?
I believe so. I believe, and I look at all the things that happen. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. Every time I get knocked down, I get picked back up. Every time. Something picks me up. Someone picks me up. Do you know the love I've been shown since I landed here? Do you know people are giving me places to stay, taking me out? The love I've been shown throughout the whole and the movement of love. It's incredible. It's an amazing feeling for me who's been through dark places to get to a place where I can see the change, I can see the support. My kids get to see it. So you can follow me on X at T Robinson New Era. I'm back on YouTube, although they won't monetize me.
Right. Same with us. Yeah.
They won't monetize you either.
No, I'm demonetized.
But why not? Why? Because jihadists are monetized. Extremists
because
are
we're too honest.
Yeah.
Because we're too true. They're demonetized me. I don't know.
I'm still not on Facebook. I'm still banned from Meta.
I think it's a good thing you're not monetized because then you become slave to their monetization.
But then you can have. But then if I was monetized, I can have security because I can earn enough money.
Yeah. How do you earn money now?
I work for Urban Scoop. So if you want to support our journalism, you can do so.
Is that non-profit?
No, it's not a non-profit. It's people, volunteers just give £50, £10.
What is it called?
Urban Scoop.
Urbanscoop.com?
Urbanscoop.com or .co.uk. That's our journalism, and there's a team of us. So they cover my costs. They cover security costs. We've relocated people. We do some incredible journalism. I'm not just saying it. If you look at trfilms.co.uk, I think I found my niche. I found my skill.
And anything coming up the next few weeks, next few months you're excited about doing?
TommyRobinsoninUSA.com. Follow my journey.
And how long are you here in the United States?
I'm going to be here for a little while. My next event, so for September 13th, we had millions. Our next event is on May 16th. Unite the Kingdom, Unite the West is our next focus. So I went to see Salvini, Deputy Prime Minister of Italy. These people wouldn't have sat down with me last year, a year ago, 2 years ago. I'm seeing the leader of Vox, which is the Spanish party. I went to see Eric Zemmour, leader of the French political party. And our vision is that we have a rising across Europe. So when we do an event in London, probably September 12th we're looking at, which is the date that the Ottoman Empire was stopped from the wholesale slaughter of Christianity by the Battle of the Gates of Vienna. September 12th falls on Saturday. We'd love to have a vision to have millions in every capital city in Europe, sending a message to the world that Europe's ready and Europe's not going to disappear. Europe culture's not going.
In the beginning of a fight, of a charge, the patriot is a brave but scarce man. But when your cause succeeds, the timid then join you. For at that point, it doesn't cost them anything to be a patriot.
Well, that's what we're seeing now.
Don't forget the people who were with you when it was the most difficult.
Yeah.
Because those are the people that you need beside you. I don't mean to give you advice, but my advice is only have people by your side who are completely unbreakable and share your core values with you, or the enemy will get to them.
Do you know who I've still got by my side at every single event, and they still surround me, is the men that surrounded me at the English Defence.
That's it. Don't have anyone near you unless they can't be broken or bribed or seduced. That's the mistake that I made in my life.
Friends. Do you know what I realised? So within our team, the only people who have access to my email database, is my school friends. Because I know they can't be bought.
Exactly.
Anyone else can be bought. Anyone else can be got. They can blackmail and they can get in, but my school friends have a love and loyalty as brothers.
This is important. Well, thank you, Tommy, for your time.
Thank you.
And to be continued. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
What is your price? Because if your price is not your life,